I have officially clicked the button. Good Momo, huh?
Yeah. Good Momo, best Momo.
Good Momo, best Momo. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. Hit me with the pitch. What's going on here?
Yeah, so because I'm too busy being a super cool judge and everything, I want to win a store provisional just in case something happens and I can't judge at Nats and I have to play instead.
Sure.
Um, but I don't want to play Todoroki or Tokiyami. I don't want to play Dabi. I don't want to play Eraserhead, and I don't want to play Ojiro.
Hmm.
So that leaves me with either Jiro or Momo. In between those two, I don't think Jiro got anything cool this set, so I decided that I wanted to try and play Momo because I think the Momo wall is really real, and
Yeah.
I think the things she gets to do now are very cool.
Okay. So hit me with the pitch.
Yeah, so the pitch for the good deck is just that there's a lot more things you can pick up and a lot of cool things you can do. Picking up Coda with your create bow staff and then building him down to basically say all your attacks have breaker 2 once is really neat.
Yeah.
Training weights is cool. Symbol of Peace says that if your opponent deals with your passing the torches and they think that you're tapped out and you can't draw anymore, they try to string you, you just Symbol of Peace and draw a bunch of cards and then block their last thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kindle the Flames is a card that I've learned to really like because it's basically amphibious, but only on defense.
Yeah. So fair.
And yeah, so fair
you could say.
amphibious. And the neat thing about Momo is that if you play her on good, there is so much overlap between the good, life, and all symbols that if you look at these foundations that I have here, determine works for all of them except for 2.
Huh. What are the 2, if I can ask?
Manly, passionate guy, and one with nature.
I see. I see. Any reason that's not a 3x then, or 4x then, or?
It was just consolidating for space because I once I put everything in the deck originally, it was at like 80 cards.
Sure.
And I really feel comfortable playing at 80, so I had to, pull some things out.
So then, what do you need my help with?
More consolidation and probably just like fixing the attack lineup a bit. Because I think attacking with Momo is like the one thing that I'm still kind of iffy on.
That is completely and totally fair. You're only playing 18 attacks, which is fine, right? But a lot of them are kind of like do nothing attacks. Your only big bomb is Cannon Blast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which can be, a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I think the attack lineup does need to be like figured out a bit more. Cannon Blast, I kind of I looked at other Momo deck lists that won, and I also noticed they're running a low number of Cannon Blasts, and I figured the mentality was if you need it, you can pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
But granted, those are Life Momo lists, and I imagine Life Momo probably plays a little bit different than Good Momo.
So the thing about Life Momo is that the Cannon Blast is actually the jab, and the sock to the mouth is Home Run Comet. Right? You have to spend everything on your cannon, and either you die to the cannon because you checked poorly or did bad math or whatever, because the cannon gets unbelievably fast. But then afterward, they just play the comet, and this is just as big with the opposite amount of input, right? I've poked you once or twice with a throw, or you let a back alley do half damage, and so I snagged my 2 momentum, and then I make this cannon a 9 high for 11, and you're at 7 health, and so you have to full block that, and then I go comet. I'll give it 2 speed with Momo, so it's 5 high for 4, and then blow them up that way, right? And you're like, ah, shucks.
Yeah.
You don't have a comet that I'm seeing, right? I mean, I'm gonna go just look at good attacks, right? Normally their comets are things like Texas Smash. Like I have a replacement, but I don't know if it's kind of what we're looking for, you know, as like an option.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Right? Good definitely has bombs. I feel like, and maybe my attack lineup is kind of scuffed. To be honest, like there are some things that I threw in here just so like I have them in here so I can consider them, like invisible infiltration and hardened jab. But realistically, I am just looking for like a more fulfilling attack lineup than that. Like I'm not dead set on any of these cards really, other than Back Alley and Create Bow Staff are the only two I'm like dead set on, and obviously Cannon.
Cannon, yeah, and Command Pigeon Flock. This card's insane.
Yeah, and Command Pigeon Flock. But like the rest of the cards, like I think Final Smash is just a really good card in general. Just because I feel like you're always gonna have that 8 foundations online. Because for the most part, I feel like in order for your opponent to break over the Momo wall, they're gonna have to at least invest 9 or 10 foundations.
Yeah, normally.
And then once this is a 4 diff, it feels really good.
Right. Yeah, and if there's a character like to get around the 6 diff, it's Momo, right? She just rebuilds and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about it, right? So let's just talk about attacks, right? Before we get into the foundation, because I didn't do a ton of foundation looking. Airstream Driver, if they block, it's just free 9 damage. It's a 6 high for 9. Just kidding, an 8 high for 9 if we decide to sell out and destroy a foundation. My big thing is I can't pick this card up. Which is like the only cards that you can pick up in your deck currently are Cannon and Create Bow Staff offensively. The other ones you cannot.
Right.
The other non-one is Hardened Pummel, which feels a lot like a big move. Discard a momentum, build a card from your hand face down. It gets +5 damage. It's a 7 for 10 in our deck, not to mention whatever we get with One of Nature. So I know that Travis was playing things like Hardened Pummel in set 1 on Good Momo. Again, another card you cannot go pick up.
Right.
So like, how much value does it have? Twin Sword Slicer, 4 diff, 2 low for 4 echo. So even if it's just like 2 low 4, 2 low 4, you didn't commit any resources to it besides the 1 momentum. It's just to like try and sneak out 8 damage and then like continue to play cool cards like yeah. But it combos with a weapon. The combo enhance gives you extra damage. You're not gonna make that happen. You just can't, right? Unless you like put a foundation in front of it, right? You like Rising Starlet into Twin Sword Slicer, and then play the combo. Your next one gets +2. You don't use the ability of Momo to build it down. You echo it, combo. Your next one gets +2. You Momo, destroy a foundation, build down your Starlet, or flip a Starlet, build a Starlet, or whatever. Like there's moves you can do there. And then lastly, it's just like really big sword, right? I think that this card has a place to exist. I think the good symbol is where it has to be. I think that this is a good symboled Momo card, and I think that she should try this card. The fact that this card in your deck is not amazing, right? Because it can only go pick up Bow Staff, but being able to go and pick up the Twin Sword Slicer feels very good. You can give it speed, right? In you, this is a 4 high for 7 with powerful 2 that if it's completely blocked, you go find the thing, and you can build a bunch. You just do, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, if there's any amount of ways for you to give speed or pseudo speed, then this is just like a good card, you know. The other option is sell out and play more cannons, right? Have your cannons not be really tall, but try and make them a little wider, and be like, instead of selling out for this one cannon, realize that I have to, in order to get there, I have to play 3 cannons this turn. So you play all 4, and like just like increases attack number by just a little bit, you know. Have you looked at Jacob Johnson's good list at all?
No, that was actually the one list that I was trying to find, because I was like, I feel like I can just approve upon that list,
Yeah,
and try to get a good sense of it, but I could not find it.
okay. Yeah, for good Momo, boy howdy, I like all of this. All of this is cool. All of this is cool, and this is the one piece that's like a little iffy, right?
Yeah, I agree. That was the challenge for me too with deck building, is really nailing the attack lineup.
Yeah, you have 11 options when it comes to cards, right? That you can go pick up. So even it might even be the fact of like, I know you like Create Bow Staff, but maybe it needs to be a 2 of, so that we can sneak in a Gecko Stomp, so that you have a low, a mid, and now a high that does something at deadlock. That is a 5 low for 6. That if it's completely blocked, you build a top card deck, a thing that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like Create Capture Net is like not a very good card in our deck. I think it's not good for Momo. I think that same slot just should be Twin Sword Slicer if we were gonna do a thing, but like, where does that fit in, right? It also is like missing like the incidental damage of things like you have self-sacrifice, but you don't have access to floating, right?
Right. So I don't have. There's not a lot of damage pump.
Yeah, like you have to play training weights, which might even be like, honestly, like maybe we have to play 2 training weights, and we like scale a little bigger and be like, yo, I have to get double training weights and like make stuff happen. Use my study group leaders to reset cards, and my swan numbers to reset cards, and so on and so forth. You know.
Yeah.
So with that said, was there anything in this in these 4 that tickled your fancy or your curiosity at all? Before I talk about like your attack lineup.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I do kind of want to try really big sword, but then I do think if I put in really big sword, I'm also going to make space for Twin Sword Slicer, so that way it has more targets.
Yeah,
because I don't want to be in the situation where I play a really big sword and then they just block it and then I don't get anything out of it, right?
Yeah. That's fair. I
and
like Twin Sword Slicer in this deck a lot.
Is really nice.
Like a lot. I think Twin Sword Slicer is like one of the key things that this kind of deck is missing. To the point of like, I would rather play 2 Twin Sword Slicer and 1 Bow Staff, because you can once per game or once per turn go find the Bow Staff, use Bow Staff, add in the thing that you want, build the thing that you want. When do you want 2 Bow Staffs in a turn?
That's fair.
And that's like that's
a good point.
Bow Staff is a fucked up good card. One of them is. But when you have 2 of them, you're like, what am I really doing with this? It's like weirdly draw 1. Right? And she's the only character that wants to put in our stage or in our pool. And even then it's like the forest mid for 4 that's ever done it. I never use Momo's speed on it. I don't care if this thing gets hit. Like, what is this card really doing? It's like adding in Coda and twirling my mustache and being like, well, hey. You know?
Yeah, it's just quick building.
It's just quick building. It's like you look at your opponent and then like they just like punch you in the mouth and you're like, wait a minute. I did 4 damage to you. Why didn't you respect?
Yeah.
Why didn't you respect my attacks?
It's a good point.
Yeah, and that's just where I'm at with it. Is I would cut this down to a 1 of instantly. I think Create Bow Staff is great. I think it's one of the primary cards that you do go and grab. I think Twin Sword Slicer is an easy way to go and kill people.
Okay, yeah, I can I can see that. That makes more sense to me. And it kind of goes back to my logic of like you only need one of it because you can constantly find it.
Correct.
And I get, yeah, bow staff kind of falls more in line with that mentality,
Yeah.
with it being a one of. Yeah.
I also, because of like how I'll use this word and you'll know what I mean. How flaccid our attack lineup is. I think that you should play a second training weights just to like try and pump a little, like giving everything that extra damage might just be worth it. Or might like slamming a couple extra points when it matters on things like Twin Sword Slicer as you echo them and so on and so forth, right? But that does mean we have to put Study Group Leader at a 4 of. It has to be a 4 of. Because of things like training weights and like how free that is. It has to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know?
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, we can try it at 2.
And the worst that happens is you get it and you're like, man, this card is already not doing enough for me. Having two do nothing cards sucks, right? Or the other option, right, is instead of this training weights, right, we put this down, we go and we pick up a UA high. This UA high goes and it picks up the command pigeon flock. Command pigeon flock like is an attack, right?
Yeah.
And this says destroy. No, it says remove. Okay, that's good.
It says remove.
And you get to cycle draw, so you get to take in at the end of your turn, put your foundations that you want on top of your discard pile, so you can quick create, build them in, or add your other assets or whatnot. Like I think this card's very cool. It's also a solid 2 high block.
It is. You are kind of spitting. I guess. Well, what ally cards do I have?
You've got this one that matters.
Pigeon. I have
You've
rating.
got this one that matters.
Study group.
You've got this card.
Is Coda an ally?
He is.
He is. You know, there are some schmoos with that then, right? Because like, I can block with it on defense, build it on defense, remove it on defense, find another high block or a mid block. And if it happens to be Coda, block with Coda, then fast build Coda if I really need him.
Can I say something dumb?
Yeah, what's
Do
up?
you have a teamwork?
I don't have a team.
Okay, then we won't talk about it. That card is also an ally, and it covers the block zone, right?
Yeah, it
with
gives me
the
a
UA
low
high, you get to now go pick up anything you want as long as you've got the Coda in the discard pile.
Okay. I like it.
All right, your goal was to cut cards, and all I've done is add cards, so that's pretty tight.
Correct.
How do you feel about you like Symbol of Peace? How do you feel about Capture / Plus Ultra?
I like Plus Ultra just because it's like, if I have the one momentum and my opponent has played around Deadlock because they're afraid of quick creation, I can just spend the momentum to do the quick creation thing, but on any of my attacks. It doesn't have to necessarily be a weapon. I feel like it's warranted enough to run as a one of.
Sure.
Capture, I feel capture is kind of necessary just so I don't get like. At least I have a problem where I usually win against meta decks and lose against rogue decks. And I feel like rogue decks always do some crazy things with their momentum.
Yeah, your God's gift to the game, for sure.
So like I just need to I need the capture evildoer so I don't go up against the Toga 2 that doesn't check the one check and she puts them all on her momentum.
Alright, I love it. I love it. Okay, from here, I'm just going to help cut the deck. What number did you say you wanted this at? 83? Are we done? We've done the thing?
No. In fact, you added 3 cards. I played an 80 card deck the other day and I hated it. I think I'd be more comfortable around low end 70, high end 74.
So here's my thing. I think that you should push it to high 60s, like 68, The life versions play 19, if not 20 attacks, most of which can be picked up. You are playing an 18 attacks with 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks that can be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
The life decks still sometimes have a problem picking and choosing the cards they get to go and pick up till they go and find that kill turn. I think you have to play a lower number so that you can try and find schmoves, right? And like some of these cool tech pieces, like Lessons in Taiyaki, this card sucks, man. This card is not good, and so like this instantly just gets to leave, right?
Yeah. Fair.
Recovery Girl's Kiss is a very cool 0 diff. What has gain 1 health done for anybody? As this is this card's only job.
I purely threw that one in because I was like, I felt like my spam was lacking.
I get that. You, under the good symbol, you've gotten 4 of the best spam possible. I think that you just have to leave this one.
Okay. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah. So let's do some. It's also holy Nikes. Let's do some cutting to see what I can convince you to get down a little bit, and then we'll figure it out. So let's just go to Block Zones.
Yeah.
100 mids. I love it. Recovery Girl's Kiss. It's gone.
Fair.
Precious Lessons 3 of 2 of. This makes sense. I would even be down for Destin because of like how ratioed our deck is. We could even like toss it down. Sorry, we're getting rid of Taiyaki. Can I do that? Can I just leave?
Yeah, you
okay,
can get rid
thank
of
goodness.
it.
Determined.
I was just in deadlock, but it's fine. I'm kidding.
No. That's wrong. Yeah. Manly gets to be a 2 of. This is one of the primary targets that you're just going to unflip with Invincible Infiltration, right? Like, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Raiding the Hideout gets to be a 2 of, just because we get to cut the number. It's an ally. We get to build it in with Command Pigeon Flock. We don't need to see 3 of it, you know?
That's fair.
What's the best card to pick up with New Training Method? If you're like if every time that I have a New Training Method in my stage, the first card that I auto want to pick up, specific situations aside, what's the card?
What's the card? Probably.
Let me give an example, right? In life decks, it's Release. I always pick up Release. Release is the number 1 card I pick up with New Training Method.
Pick up Release.
Followed by Face Shield. There's not a third one.
Yeah. I guess for this specific deck, the one you would always pick up would probably be Determined if you don't have one.
Okay.
And then I feel like you can never go wrong with just picking up another Passing the Torch.
That's fair. That's completely and totally fair. Can I drop it to a 2 of?
Yeah, you can drop to a 2 of.
Small number. This card is very cool. This card is very aggressive. We have Kindle the Flames that does this defensively. Do we need to double up on this? Is Small Number the better card because it's playable on both? Or is Kindle the Flames better because it is a 5 check?
I think because of the existence of Determined, that Kindle the Flames is the better card.
Okay.
I think I'm more concerned with having my foundations readied on defense rather than having them ready on offense.
Can I fight you on it? I can commit my Small and Limbers to Cannon Blast, destroy for +2 speed, ready my Small and Limbers. Cannon Blast is a charge. I can commit Small and Limbers for +1/+1/+1/+1. Commit my face for the +1/+2. So Cannon Blast plus the 2 Small and Limbers plus a third card is, it's a 4 high for 5. It's a 6 high for 9. It's a 7 high for 9. It's an 8 for 10. It's a 9 for 11. 9 for 11 with Small Limber. No, it gets another +1/+2 because it's for 13 damage with Small Limber, 1 Foundation destroyed, Cannon Blast.
Yeah.
And that Kindle the Flames cannot do that, right? It can't re-ready itself on the aggro turns. At the same time, we can commit the double Kindle the Flames for the Cannon Blast. If they don't die, we block ready the Kindles.
And that's more of what I was thinking Kendall for.
Then I think we have to get rid of Small and Limber.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what number we're at. 75. We gotta keep cutting. We gotta keep cutting mids.
Yep.
I
think the problem with mids is that you're not really going to be able to escape a high count just because
our attack lineup.
The attack lineup, right? Like, I think if we alter the attack lineup a bit, we can shove out some mids, but like all our actions are mids.
Yeah.
All of our assets aside from UA high are mids.
Which, like, asks the point of, like, maybe we should cut training weights again, right? Maybe we should take some of these and toss them in the sideboard instead of them being mainboarded, right? Maybe if, like, Plus Ultra is not doing it for us, that's when Capture Evil comes in. Or maybe we mainboard Capture Evil Doers when we fight a deck that doesn't care about momentum. We swap it out for the Plus Ultra, just to cut down on this number.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready to get rid of training weights. Like, I think that's fine. If you still, man.
I feel like the one of training weights just kind of needs to be there, though.
Yeah, because you want to play Ghost Staff. Ghost Staff to go get
like
it.
I need my damage. And training weights just does it the easiest, right? Like, it does it with almost no cost if I have Steady Group Leader out.
2x determined? That seems not great.
No. I like determined. We could probably 1x Lost in Thought. Though it isn't high. What are our high blocks looking like?
Like 23.
Oh,
22
yeah,
now.
We can
Cutting lows feels bad, but at the same time, you can just go and pick up a low. Go and pick up a low.
A low. Yeah. And if I have determined out, I can pick up a 0 low block.
How many times have you played this deck?
I played it like once.
Okay. I almost want to take like raiding out to like a 1 of because it's an ally. If you want it, you can just build it. I know the enhanced flip is like really good, but like that discard the card for +2 damage might be like what we do instead of training weights, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you can definitely take that to a 1. I forgot Study Group Leader was an ally. If I'm being real with you.
Yeah.
Also, I think maybe we just cut Plus Ultra and put it into the sideboard.
I don't hate that. I think that is a smart decision, especially because 2 of the 3 main decks, 2 of the big 3 play Plus Ultra, play 1 nature, and so like you don't want to block on a 7.
Yeah, Plus Ultra is bad at that point. Determine is just a much better option.
Correct. Yeah, because you can't determine the Plus Ultra.
Right.
72 is not bad for you trying to then go and figure out what do I cut, what do I like, what do I play, what do I not like. Your deck won't be able to kill people. And so as you're testing things, your entire goal is which of the cards that I'm playing are keeping me alive, right? Because like that's the reason to play Momo is survivability, right?
Yeah.
And so like as you're doing your testing, you're gonna have to do it in phases. You can't just test everything all at once. So you're gonna play against a deck and be like, all right, my goal is to survive their big turn. I want to hit a big huge survive. And then if I happen to do like half the damage that I'm supposed to do, that's a win because I survived, right? I survived, I backswung, and I survived their backswing of my backswing, right? Like that's a win. What cards got me there? What cards didn't? Do I need 3 Kindle? Do I need 2 Kindle? Your finish is a 4 of or a 3 of, right? Like things like that. Lost in Thought was in Pinnacle. I don't need Raiding the Villain Hideout. I should play more Lost in Thought. Stuff like that. As you figure out what it is you want to do. You know?
Yeah, I agree. figuring out what works and what doesn't, and then adjusting from there.
Because there's also like, I mean, we barely touched the attack lineup of like things like there's no airstream driver, there's no pummel. Excuse me. There's like you could switch to like an entire punch package if you really wanted to. Like there's things that you get to do. You even get to see like, do you like Invisible Infiltration? Is that a card that you like playing?
Yeah. Speaking of punch package, I did have the stupidest idea.
Yeah.
For a punch package, and it was just like a bunch of punches. The one Deku punch that draws you a card, Future Charge. Back alley haymaker, wind up punch, and the one Jiro attack that combos with charge, but is a weapon. Because all those punches just happen to be charges as well.
Yeah.
And it's probably terrible. But
I know that Nate in season 2 was playing one of that card to just go pick up and be like, oh, I accidentally killed you there, my bad. Because like it's another big bomb, and he might have been playing. Yeah, he had to have been playing the good symbol, in order to make that happen. But then like the life symbol builds came out, like, and it was just like that deck got like pushed aside. But there's probably still something there of like play charge deck, because like Cannon Blast has charge. You can play that too. It might be worth it, but like, is Command Pigeon Flock is the Command Pigeon Flock package better? Is the question, right?
I think specifically because we're trying to play training weights is why I feel like Command Pigeon Block has value.
Yeah.
Because Study Group Leader does fuck all except for with cannon and training weights. There's just nothing else that commits as cost.
Huh. So maybe, I mean, the answer is just put it down to a 3 of, and we just made another cut, huh? Like you had it at 2? But I think that 2 is not right. I think that we can live with 3. And then these are fine numbers, right? Even enough for good testing. We're technically, I think this is the number that I played for the life build that I did well with. And so like, the issue is like, you don't have Comet, you don't have Nice Slice, you don't have all the options that I had when playing it.
Yeah, were you also running like a lower attack count?
Probably not. I was probably closer to like 21.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's going to be, you need to play with this and be like, what were my MVPs of this match? Write down my thoughts and my notes. Which cards felt good? Which cards felt bad? Is Kindle as good as I want it to be? Lost in Thought, is that card needed? Do I even, is New Trading Method not doing anything because I don't have specific cards I want to pick up, right? It's more of a random accidental draw. If I want random accidental draw, this card's way better for that, right?
Right.
And so like I think it might just be, you gotta just like slam a couple matches.
Yeah, just jam games with it. Yeah.
And like take legitimate notes and be like, what works, what didn't. Why did you win? Why did you lose? Why did they win? Why did they lose? What cards are what cards am I not liking? Right? You don't even talk about the ones that you do like. What are the cards you don't like? And just like start curling the herd. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me throw this at you though.
Hit me.
Because I am interested. If you had to put in maybe 2 really big swords and 1 more twin sword slicer, what would you cut, or would you just add or would you just increase the attack count?
I think 18 attacks is really low, but I always skew attack heavy, always. right? Even in my control decks, I want to play just an absolute fuck ton of attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Invisible Infiltration as a card. I think it doesn't have the keywords that you're looking for. I think going and picking up these cards are it's resetting a foundation is cool on a 3 low for 6 probably, because 3 low for 8 I think is a little, or 3 low for 7 is a little hard to get to because they'd have to have 8 foundations. Is destroying a foundation on this card worth it? The answer is probably no. So like it's just a 3 low for whatever. It's a 3 low for 5. I'd rather go pick up the Twin Sword Slicer. That's a 2 low for 4, possibly 2 low for 4, 2 low for 4. That can combo, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this card's like really good of like, I'll play Invisible Infiltration as my first move. I'll commit my Passing the Torch. I'll blink my Passing the Torch. I'll play my Hardened Jab. I'll commit my Passing the Torch. I'm feeling great. My hands hurt because of all the cards I got in them, right? But like, how are you killing them?
Yeah, fair. It does not kill people.
This card, in tandem with this card, is also very good, right? Because it builds it back in. Build it from the remove file pace up. That's another +1 to the powerful. But the issue is like, how do we get this thing fast? We need more One with Natures. If we play more One with Natures, what do we cut? Right? Is it Specialist? Because like, we already have -2 speed on face. Is it Manly? How many foundations are we going to be holding on defense? These are all questions that like I can't answer. You have to play test.
That's something you have
right?
to play test. Yeah. That makes sense. Tell you what though. Let's take out Invisible. Let's put in 2 really big swords. Go to 3 slicers. And let's throw in a 3rd cannon blast.
Your other option, honestly, and this is crazy, right? You could just play 4 Cannon Blast, and like a decent play is back alley, stun 2, see if you can find a block, build your foundation. I'll play cannon. I will commit the 1 foundation, not sell out for it. It's now a 5 high for 7. Destroy with Momo. It's a 7 high for 7, 5 diff. Catch this cannon after your stun 2. So you commit the 1 resource for cannon. You commit the 1 resource for paying the cannon, but you built in the 1 resource with back alley.
Mm-hmm.
You can build in cool cards back in with quick ratio whenever you start that loop, and like, it's just here's a 7 high for 7 catch. Is that worth it for you, right?
Yeah, it definitely could be. Yeah. Maybe that is the answer. Just throwing in 4 cannons.
Like, it could be like, we do this and we'll see either play 20 or cut a final smash, and it's like have a real cheeky 1-up. This is a bonus copy of any attack you want. This is your 5th cannon if you want it to be, right?
Right.
At the same time, this 20 with being able to go and pick up some other options might be enough in our 73 card deck at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And then we could always figure out other things from there. Yeah, I like it. 73 is still a lot, but I can shave down as I find things of value or not of value.
True. Very true. All right, man. Well, I think that's gonna do it for the deck doctor. This is a deck that like takes just a ton of thinking, so I get it.
Yeah, this is one of those decks that you said it a while back ago, but this is like version 1 of the deck. The deck's not gonna feel complete until like version like 6 or 7.
Correct. 100%. Yeah, got to do a lot of field research.
Exactly.
All right, man. We'll stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you a link, and you have a good rest of your night, okay?
All right, sounds good. You too, man.
Peace, man.